Oh, I have slept the surly bonds of earth, and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I...
Sorry about that, folks. Yes, I know you've been watching me be mute for about a minute or 30 seconds or so. The other show ran just a little bit long. My name's Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing, the after show for Stupid O'Clock. The end credits for Stupid O'Clock are still running at this very moment. I hate to leave that, but I had to. So we are, well, it's still Thursday, February 3rd, and everything seems to be soaking wet and cold. And we are in the eastern U.S., and I'm lucky enough to be far enough south to where I don't have to scrape ice off of my driveway in order to go to work in the morning or worry about black ice on the highway. I am lucky. A lot of people do. And I hope that those that are in the affected areas in the blizzard are sensibly staying home, or if they are absolutely unable to stay home, they are taking every safe precaution that they possibly can, because we don't want to hear anything about anyone that we know and care about and love to have suffered an accident because they had no choice but to leave the house. So, and I know Bill hates that, but without further ado, we're going to bring on Bill and we're going to bring on Stephanie, and know what we could do to top the last 2 hours, but that was intense. Oh wow, my hair looks like I'm a Muppet. Oh well, I'll fix it in post.
Who would Dan Hollifield be as a? Yeah, who would Dan Hollifield be as a Muppet?
Animal.
Animal. Oh,
Yep.
Everybody says that.
Yes, but it's true.
I would probably be Dr. Honeydew.
Yes.
Well,
yes,
I
Mike,
know.
Yep, you found us though. We'll have to move harder next time.
I think I'd want to be Fozzie Bear, but I've actually been told before that when I wear my sunglasses that I look like the bass player from Dr. Teeth.
Oh yeah.
Band. I can't remember what his name, the actual character's name is, though.
You know, I can't remember that either right off the top of my head. I would have said...
Or no, he wasn't the bass player. He was the saxophone player. The woman was the bass player.
Yes.
Hang on a minute. I'm pulling it up. Floyd Pepper was on the bass. Janice was the lead singer.
Mm-hmm. She played lead guitar.
Yeah.
Dr. Teeth, well, of course, Animal played drums. Dr. Teeth played piano, but then the saxophone guy had the kind of Gilligan style cap with the sunglasses.
Zoot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, we're live, and for some strange reason, we've already got 5 viewers. So this is one of the most. This is
do my best, Kermit.
This is one of the highest rated
Kermit the Frog.
Time, yeah.
Kermit the Frog here.
Yeah.
It's time for Last Man Standing.
Yeah. On the other hand, I could see if people would view me as Grover because I'm kind of innocent, but not really. Uh,
Grower.
Or Elmo.
oh no, I don't think I can ever
Ooh.
pull off Elmo again. Now, I'm too advanced in years for that. So, um, many moons come Choctaw, as Johnny Carson used to say when he wanted to indicate that time had passed.
I always thought that Scooter was patterned after Radar on MASH. I don't know why I got that feeling, but the
Well, I
first
would.
time I ever watched The Muppet Show, the original one from the mid 70s, that's what I thought. Because he was kind of like Kermit's right hand man on the
Yeah.
show.
Now that you've said that, I can well believe it. Yes, I would not doubt it for a minute, unless somebody on the crew for the show came up and said, "No, he's patterned after somebody else."
Yeah.
Fraggle Rock is coming back. Wow.
I keep hearing that, but I don't know when. Do you got a timeline for when that's going to happen? Because that would be wonderful as long as they didn't screw it up.
Well, that's a lot of things. It's a lot of things from that period for everyone, whether it was childhood or young adult or whatever. Um, there are lots of things that fall into that area of this was my favorite when it was new, no matter how old I was, and then somebody wants to bring it back, and you hope it's not one of those gritty reboots where everybody's wearing cloaks and black spandex and carrying knives and guns. But that would be a horrible Fraggle Rock right there. Um,
That'd be one that Skunk might like if it had kind of a horror theme to it.
it sounds like Terrorhawks to me. Oh Lord!
Well, the
Oh,
episode that had Alice Cooper on it, which was, I believe, a Halloween,
one of my absolute favorites. Yes, indeed.
or
Alice
or
Cooper's
the
one of the few people that can look absolutely normal in a crowd of Muppets.
yeah, or Vincent Price. That episode was
Yep.
wonderful, and it introduced that one character that was really kind of creepy looking. I can't remember his name either.
I
He
can't
was a
remember his name, but I know exactly the one you're talking about.
yeah, he was on that. He was on the very episode, and I think that maybe might have been the first episode that they introduced him because they've always had kind of some creepy looking Muppets. The real huge one is one that I think of. I think his name was Sweetums, and he was
Yeah.
like the tallest Muppet
Tall
ever.
brown
But
monster. The tall
mhm,
brown monster. Yeah, that's Sweetums.
he
Sweet.
kind of looked like a big version of Animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this one kind of looked like a cross between a vulture and a dragon or something, and he just, you know,
What color was he?
he
mm,
flew around. He flew around while Alice was singing "Schools Out,"
Oh.
or
kind of a charcoal gray, maybe. I don't know.
a little bit bluish. Yeah.
He,
Well, there's a blue bird Muppet that is Sam Eagle.
Yes.
Not him.
no,
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 not him. Not him.
no.
Maybe
He's the one. Sam Eagle was the one that did the PSAs all the time on the Muppet
Yeah.
Show or whatever. He was very patriotic, obviously.
this one was more pterodactyl than eagle,
Mm-hmm.
with a dash of dragon.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Mm.
I don't know that he ever had a name, actually.
Might not
Well,
have. It might have just existed solely for that those musical numbers. Then um, I'll be right back. I'm just going off camera.
Now I gotta Google it myself. But yeah, I don't recall ever seeing him prior to that episode. And if I find, I think I'd know. But, and of course, it always wants to give you videos, which I know we can't do. But let's see. And it's showing me every one but the one I wanted to see, because there was a bunch of monsters in the Vincent Price episode.
Yeah.
Maybe I ought to just put Scary Muppet and just see what all comes up, because I'm getting nowhere on that one. But I'd love those original ones. Now, when they redid the Muppet Show, oh, there he is, the very first one, Uncle Deadly. I guess he's kind of blue. But Uncle Deadly was kind of almost like the Muppet version of Vincent Price. And
even behaved kind of. They gave him a personality and gestures and stuff that were.
Yeah.
Like.
But yeah, the newer version of, well, that's been quite a while ago now. I can't remember how many years ago that's been since they had the Muppet Show back on, and I think they put it on CBS for a while. And of course, they would have guest stars, which would be more current celebrities and that. And it didn't quite work the way the original did and what does. But I mean, it's kind of like last night I was watching something on TV and they had the reboot of the Wonder Years on there, the new one. And I can't get into it. And I think it's because of whoever's writing the stories, they're bland. There's nothing going on to it. Mm-hmm. And I think the characters could be, if the stories were done good, the characters in the new Wonder Years could work out quite well. But for one, the Wonder Years have already been done anyway, with when Everybody Hates Chris came out. Chris Rock show. But anyway, Dan's having cuddle time.
Yes, we've had a kitty join.
Yes, this is Violet.
Hello, Violet.
She is one of my favorite Muppets.
Yeah.
Oh, honey.
Now, yeah, there you go. Violet thinks she's in the green room.
Yeah, well, always showing her ass. Yep, that's a cat.
Sarah Heiser has a cat named Violet, who is, strangely enough, a tiger striped cat, but the grays in her give off a violet color, and that's why she named her Violet. But also she's shy as Violet. She doesn't come out around people except for me, I think once or twice.
Well, I named this one Violet after a spaceship in a Doc Smith story. So it was Duquesne's first copy of the Skylark. And it was such a small and inoffensive thing. And she is a teeny tiny little kitty. She's about 14 years old, and she's, just a couple of handfuls, and that's about it. Her brothers and sisters are twice her size. So, she's just a teeny tiny thing, and she's very, very well mannered, except when she's on camera, and then she spends either most of the time sleeping on a little bed that I've got over here for her, or in my chair when I'm not in it, which is inconvenient when I want to come back and get in my chair. Have to sweep her off. So,
Oh, in case you're wondering, we figured out the Muppet. It's Uncle Deadly.
Uncle Deadly. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was not having any luck trying to find it. I kept thinking it was on the episode that Vincent Price was on, but then I wasn't pulling anything up, and so, but we found it another way.
I do miss the classic Muppet Show, even though I used to watch it over and over and over again on the reruns long after it in first run.
I'm not sure, but I think Tubi TV has the classic episodes, or at least some of them.
That would be absolutely great. I'd have to ask Lindsay to search her Roku and see whether or not it was free for our area. So.
Yeah, I know it is with mine on my SmartCast. It's Tubi's a free. You can download the app to your mobile, or you can. Typically, it's probably if you have a smart TV, it's probably already on there.
Don't have a smart TV. Have a very stupid TV. Have a smart Roku plugged into the TV. Now we get by with the Roku, and she has a subscription to BritBox, and on the computer, which also the TV can also access it. I have a Netflix subscription, and then I've got the CW app on both my desktop and on my iPad, so I can watch all my DC comic book shows on CW. And that pretty much, except for random YouTube videos, that pretty much not limits, but delineates my TV watching nowadays. Because I used to, back when we had the satellite dish, there'd be half a dozen different cartoon channels that I would watch, and then there was BBC America that played a bunch of really good stuff, which is probably almost all on YouTube, or not YouTube, but BritBox right now. And we'd make a Saturday night out of watching As Time Goes By, and Graham Norton, and a couple of other things. And that was fun. That was fun, but. Satellite dish got a little bit too expensive. We were paying way too much for the maybe 5 channels we were watching. So Lindsay decided to cut the cord. So we've still got the dish, we've still got the box, and they're going, "Hey, anytime you want to come back, we'll be glad to up your bill." And I'm going, well, no, if I didn't have to have the landline, I'd cut back to nothing but my internet connection through the phone company. But then again, my family is used to using the landline to get in touch with us. My employer used to require it. If you didn't have a landline, you couldn't have a job. And now everybody's got a cell phone, so that policy has been modified somewhat, but I'm still in the age group to where they still expect me to have a landline, and I'm going, "You serious about this? I can ignore the landline just as well as I can ignore the cell phone if you want to call me overtime I didn't sign up for." And I'm good at ignoring stuff when it requires me to give up a day off.
I
Oh,
sent you a link to
oh,
the Stupid O'Clock Send list that I think you and Stephanie would be interested in. This is very um,
I'll I'll look
recent
it up.
news.
We have another celebrity here. Hello,
Oh,
Christian.
hi, Christian.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Christian runs the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on YouTube, and it is an excellent show. It is with the Hanging with Web Show network, and I watch it every Tuesday, and I believe it comes on at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and there is always something wonderful that they're going to cover. It's really good stuff. If you're a Doctor Who fan, I highly recommend it. Their cast is like ours from all over creation, and it's just a fun time. Uh, and now that's enough of my commercial for um, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So,
I looked at the article and I looked at the photography, Bill, and
Mhm.
based on what I know, it does not look to me like it's a meteor. Uh, Supposedly, this guy in where the heck is it?
It's Streeter, Illinois. Yeah.
Okay, thinks he has a meteorite from a fall about 19 years back from his backyard, and it doesn't look. It looks to me like it's a basic creek tumbled sedimentary rock. It doesn't look like it's too light in color. It doesn't have what looks like a fusion crust. It doesn't have the right shape to it. I'm not thinking that.
Yeah. Now he says he pulled it up from a sinkhole.
Hmm.
Now there's some pictures at the top of the article, Stephanie, but if you look a little bit further down, there's a large picture of another that looks different. It's just one large picture. Um, and Dan, he decided, regardless whether it's meteorite or not, he's named the rock Ace after Ace Frehley from Kiss. um, and that's probably what got it WBBM out of Chicago's notice more than anything else. But yeah, I don't. That's why I brought it up for you and Dan to look at because I'm by no means an expert on
I
such a thing.
I wouldn't call me an expert on this either, but I've looked at enough stuff to kind of know what I'm looking for.
mm,
Hmm.
Because among other things, when I was growing up, my family were rock hounds, and I've learned to study what stuff looks like, and I've studied enough um, tektites uh, to know what they look like, and those do not look like tektites to me.
mm. Oh, I read um, yesterday and today about the new or newly discovered within the last couple of years and recently confirmed second um, asteroid orbiting our, I believe it's the L4 point, and it's going to be there for quite a little bit of normal time, not a lot of astronomical time, but um, another 4 or 5 thousand years or thereabouts, and it was designated, I believe, uh, 2020
XL5.
XL5. And I'm
Yeah.
going, if they don't name it Fireball, I'm going to be really pissed.
Let me
Uh,
see what I can find here.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that, and I thought I got overly excited by it because it's a nice chunk of real estate, not really huge, but it's in a stable place where we could actually uh, send some folks out to gently stomp around on it so that they don't fly off. But it wouldn't have very much. That microgravity would be really micro.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's about a kilometer in diameter. It's bigger than the other one that we know of. It's what's called a Trojan asteroid.
mhm.
Um, Trojan. Okay, have
Oh
you ever
yeah,
heard of the
yeah,
term Lagrange points?
yes, yes.
Okay. Um, Trojan points are two of the five Lagrange points. Uh,
Okay, so I wasn't entirely mixing them up as
no,
two totally different things.
no, it's the Trojan points are a subset of the Lagrange points. You have whenever you have two objects in orbit about each other or about a common center, um, the L1 point will be at the balance point between them.
Hmm.
The L2 point will be just outside of one, typically the larger. The L3 point will be outside the smaller. And then the L4 and the L5 form the apexes of equilateral triangles with respect to the other three. If the three form a base to the triangle, then L4 and L5 are the apexes of the equilateral triangles.
So one
And
would be preceding Earth's orbit, and one would be following.
following, right.
Okay.
And we already know that the Trojan points for the Jupiter Sun system uh, have a huge collection each of asteroids.
And they can.
Um,
We don't want them anywhere near here.
yep, that's
Mhm.
right. But it's a stable area. Each of these Lagrange points are points of gravitational stability. If you put an object there uh, in absence of any other force, it's going to tend to stay there.
And
Um,
which one did they send the James Webb Telescope to?
uh,
Is that L two?
I knew you were going to ask that. uh, hang on a
It's
minute.
another in the same system of gravitational attraction there, but I don't have a firm grasp of where everything is. I know it's on the far side of the moon.
Uh, Lagrange.
I do ask good questions.
You do. Okay, it's at the L2 point. So, okay, two, yeah, it's at the L2 point.
The
Um,
last thing I read about it, they were doing a
but that
test
is,
on a known a known star so that they can actually focus the mirrors correctly.
yeah.
Just the fine focus, basically.
Now, it's not the L2 point of the Earth Moon system, it's the L2 point of the Earth Sun system.
Okay, and the difference is
A considerable distance.
okay. Yeah, it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
Um,
It's for one thing, if it were at the Earth Moon Lagrange point, it would be orbiting Earth. It's not. It's orbiting the sun. Um, so it's actually kind of pacing us in our orbit, which is convenient because otherwise it would have a tendency to lag behind.
yeah,
Um, so this new asteroid is in one of the Trojan points for the Earth Sun system. And so it will tend to move along with Earth as Earth orbits the sun.
So is L4 preceding us or following us?
I want to say L4 is the one that precedes.
Okay.
It's almost interchangeable, but not quite. Um,
But it's still a pretty good walk away.
yeah, it's a pretty good walk away. But the cool thing about it is there's got to be more there. And so since they move along with us, we're potentially carrying our own mineable asteroids along with us.
And it was pretty much a standard. Oh, how do you? I don't know how to pronounce words. Carbonaceous chondrite.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that one's not mineable because that one's just basically rock.
Okay. Doesn't have any
Um,
more useful stuff, but might have a little bit, but
it
not.
might towards the center. So it's worth checking out. Certainly, something that size might be worth putting a base there for your mining operations too.
Hmm. Or nice place to set up a radio telescope and
True. If
uh,
you could get if you could put a radio telescope on Earth, a radio telescope in L4 and L5, then you can use interferometry and you effectively have a radio telescope as big as the distance between L4 and L5, which is substantial.
that'd be a nice chunk of change there. That distance.
Yep, it would. And the bigger the diameter, the effective diameter, the better the resolution. So,
Yeah, that's the same way the radio telescopes at
the the VLA.
the VLA. Yeah, they hook them up so that they can run them out on the tracks in sets, not necessarily just two or three, but the distance between them is actually the size of the effective size of the radio telescope. So
Right, right.
that's the inferiority you're talking about, or
Yes.
yeah. However you
Interferometry.
pronounce the word, yes.
Interferometry.
Interferometry. Okay, thank you.
It
Um,
does take a good bit of computing power to do it, but it's been well within our capability for decades now.
hey, computers get better every day.
Yep.
We're no longer restricted to a 2 megabyte hard drive at the size of a building. Um,
Right.
Hey, they're no longer on reel-to-reel tapes.
Also true.
yeah.
The last
So
I
at the
knew,
risk,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And make
No,
your point.
I was just going to say, at the risk of sounding stupid, and that's not much of a risk, what you were just describing about having the radio telescopes on the L2 and then the other two positions, what benefit would we get from that we
Um,
don't already have?
well, the more the bigger the radio telescope. Well, this is true with any telescope, regardless of what frequency band you're using. The bigger the aperture, the better the resolution that you can get, the finer the detail you can get. So with a very, very large radio telescope, you can look very far out and get better detail, or you can look closer in and get very fine detail. So maybe we might be able to resolve the details inside a quasar to find out what they are. Um, why does that matter? Well, aside from the fact that it's the whole, why did you climb the mountain? Because it's there.
Mhm.
Because of human curiosity, but also because the more we know about stuff like that, the less something out there can come back to bite us. Um, you know, we finally learned enough about supernovas to realize that Earth is not really in danger from a supernova explosion because there's not a star close enough to cause us damage if it goes. But there's other things out there,
Mhm.
things like magnetars and things like that, and we need to know more about them because there is evidence to indicate of the different huge extinction events in Earth's geological history. Many of them appear to have been caused by astronomical events. Anything from, the Chicxulub impactor that extincted the dinosaurs all the way up to a possible gamma ray burst.
Yep. And if one of those goes off in your backyard, you done seen a bad day.
Well, that's the last thing you'll ever see.
And
So,
and I've already proved that dinosaurs did live through the Ice Age because of the video that I put out on Uncle Carl's Secret Humor group of the dinosaur pushing the snow blower through the yard. But
well,
no,
I
okay. So having said that, as far as knowing what could be dangerous and what isn't dangerous by having these out there, I hear a lot every time they talk about, and I'm not saying this comes from anywhere specifically important. It typically just comes from whatever social media that wants to hype up something. And I'm thinking about sightings of asteroids or meteorite shower, and the next thing you see pop up in your ads on Facebook or on your computer about danger ahead, that there could be a meteorite shower that is risking Central America or whatever. And it's one of these big scare stories that a lot of these places put out. And like I said, if it was coming from somewhere important and not just a social media site that I refer to as ambulance chasers, and that are not accredited to being like one of the big three or even a few of the other ones that are more reputable about what they put out.
There, there are more than a few what I would call clickbait sites
Right.
that
Dan,
they regularly go, "Oh, this asteroid twice the size of the Eiffel Tower is going to pass right near Earth," and you find out that it's like 15 or 20 times as far away as the moon.
yeah, Dan will tell you that one of the things that I do on my Facebook page is I debunk stuff like that. People come to me. People know that if they ask Steph, one, if I don't know, I'll go find out, and two, when I do know, I tell you the straight scoop about it. So I
Mhm.
get, the oh my gosh, Yellowstone is about to blow any minute, and I
Mm-hmm.
get the there's an asteroid going to pass my Earth and it could hit, and all that kind of stuff. I get that. People
Mhm.
come to me and they ask me how much stock do I put in this, and my general answer, I will go off and I will look. But my general answer is don't worry about it. Um, I I try to stay up to speed on things. I'm a member of the Minor Planet mailing list, which is the asteroid announcement distribution. There's a similar one for comets. I'm on that. I pay attention to this stuff. I watch for it. Um, so if I put out something that says, "Okay, guys, heads up," you know, you might want to keep an eye on this. You might want to keep an eye on it. So
Really?
Yeah.
Well, like there would be anything we could do about it anyway. I mean, probably.
Well,
Mm,
it
there are
depends.
several things we could do.
Well, I know as far as defense goes and that, I know we had Star Wars since the '80s,
Uh,
Reagan era stuff, but I even some of that back then, as much as I don't not believe it, just the fact, okay, knocking a missile out of the sky being shot from Russia is one thing, but having a huge asteroid hurtling toward Earth is something else.
Why do you think we've been conducting asteroid rendezvous missions?
Well,
It's
I would
not,
hope that it'd be something productive, yeah,
yeah.
like that.
Well, see, we've demonstrated not only can we rendezvous with an asteroid, we can land something on an asteroid. If we can land something on an asteroid, then we can. And the way they did it was they used a pyrobolt to drive a spike into the asteroid to hold the probe onto the asteroid because they're not big enough to have gravity to hold them.
Yep.
And so if you can do that, then you can put an engine on the probe, ignite the engine, and push the asteroid into a different orbit.
And there are other possibilities as well.
Many different techniques have been developed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about that, what size of an asteroid are you talking about that they would be able to do that with?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, really. If you catch it early enough, the smallest nudge can kung fu the thing just enough to get it from a dangerous trajectory to a trajectory that may become dangerous again in the far future.
And by the far future, we mean 10 to 100,000 years.
Mm-hmm. There's I've got a novel at my publisher right now that I've turned in that is very much concerned with deflecting an asteroid impact, and it's a freaking big one. But I researched as much and as far as I could to come up with every plausible and possible and even far-fetched way to affect its path, to divert it or even split it up into smaller manageable chunks and divert those. And now this is straight up Doc Smith super science stuff, some of it, but the actual methods were real stuff.
Can I throw out a promotion also, Dan?
Yeah.
If you look in the private chat for the show, I've put up a link to A New American Space Plan, which is a book that I co-authored with Travis Taylor. It is nonfiction. It talks about the state of the current space programs, and it also discusses exactly this and goes into some detail about the different methods for moving asteroids that are posing a threat. So people that
there it is, right
there. It is.
I don't see it. It's kind of tiny on my screen, but I have to keep the chat.
A New American Space Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Now
it's a few years old, but all the information in it should still be
relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, well, like Dan talking about all the clickbait, and once again, you call it clickbait, I call them ambulance chasers. It's probably pretty much the same thing, but
same thing.
Some of them are saying, "Oh, these asteroids are twice as big as the moon," and coming in.
That'd be a freaking big asteroid there,
wouldn't it? I mean, and then so it's like that's why I asked how big are the ones you're talking about? These engines can pull into a different orbit, or I get thinking like, okay, they're going to shoot it and break it up in a million different pieces, like you were talking about, Dan, with the book. You think, oh, instead of having a asteroid twice as big as the moon hurtling toward the Earth, now we have 10,000 of them, maybe a 16th as big as the moon, all hurtling toward the Earth.
Larry Niven and Jerry Purnell covered that in Lucifer's Hammer, and to now, I don't believe there are that many asteroids twice the size of the moon inside the solar system.
Okay, let's
pretty freaking big, you know.
Oh yeah, that's
something twice that size would be a minor planet off somewhere.
All right.
To blow up even an ordinary, reasonable Eiffel Tower size asteroid, you'd exchange a lethal bullet for a lethal shotgun blast.
But if you
nuke the thing,
yeah. So if you're reading it, and yeah, they're putting it out there twice the size of the moon just to get your attention.
Time out. First off, the largest known asteroid is in the asteroid belt proper. It's called Ceres, and it is about 590 miles in diameter.
It's about the same as Texas in
the moon. The moon is over 1,000 miles in radius. So it's over 2,000 miles in diameter.
Okay.
Okay. So there is nothing out there that is the size of what you're talking about.
I know that. I know that. See, but it's the thing. Okay, when you go after them for this, saying, okay, where's your sources? How did you figure this out, or whatever? I don't see anybody going after these people, and
I do when I can. Point them out to me. I'll go after them.
The Sun, the Daily Mail, the Guardian.
Oh,
these are people with the clickbait about, oh, this is going to be horrible. We're all doomed. We're all going to die. We should have stayed in Lilliput. No, and it's all bullshit, because they exaggerate not only the size of the object, but how close it's ever going to get. And,
most of the time it's something that is maybe the size of a car, maybe the size of a bus, and it's like 15 or 20 times the distance to the moon is going to be the closest approach. And it's just not anything to worry about 99 times out of 100. Better than 99 times out of 100.
The main thing about anybody shaming them in public, calling them out on this, is that they know they're giving misinformation.
Oh yeah.
They know that we know better, but there are others who aren't, and that's the ones they're going after to get the subscriptions or whatever it is.
And that's why I debunk them every chance I get.
Right. But the thing, they never worry about people like you or anybody else going after them, because they got bigger, better lawyers than you do that will find the intricate little loopholes that's going to get them out of any type of danger of such thing.
I'm not going to go after them legally.
No, I know, but I mean, there are others who.
When you put out the truth, people recognize it. When I have people vouching for my bona fides and my background and my degrees and how much I know about stuff, I don't have to do it myself. Other people know this about me. And so when I stand up and I say, hey, guys, don't worry about it. Here's the real scoop. And I lay out the specifics, then you'd be amazed at how many people are like, oh, wow, I feel so much better about that. Okay, that's a whole bunch. So I need to just ignore this source? And I'm like, yes. Yeah, they just disproved themselves.
Mm.
You don't need to even be paying attention to them. So they just lost their people that they were trying to hoodwink.
And typically, a lot of them, when these stories pop up, it's not going to say National Enquirer or Guardian or Globe or anything that you would recognize. It's always something um, U.S. Space Intellect.com or what,
Yeah.
that makes you think that, oh my, this is coming
what they're
straight
talking
from a
about.
source, and it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Scientists say, which scientists?
yeah,
No. Usually it is one of about a dozen different clickbait websites that used to be competition for the National Enquirer as to how stupid can we write stuff and still have people buy our paper.
I thought it was so funny. One of them was like, um, giant crack in national park. Yellowstone could erupt any day now, and it turned out it wasn't even the same national park, and it was wintertime, so it was a freeze thaw crack, and it was horizontal, not vertical.
now if it was the National Enquirer, the story would be giant kraken in Yellowstone National Park going to make it erupt, because that's how ridiculous.
Some of these papers make the National Enquirer look like the Times from London.
Well, who was it? What celebrity sued the National Enquirer's butt off and won? And then you didn't hear much about National Enquirer for a while afterwards, which I know it still exists. And
that's been a while back.
Quite a while back. I can't
the
remember.
Star, yeah, I'm trying to think who, but they kept repeatedly going after her over and over and over for things, and she got tired of it.
Mm.
I can't remember. It might have been Carol Burnett or somebody. It was a famous celebrity.
I can't remember anybody ever going after Carol Burnett, but some of the more recent pop stars sort of folks, yeah, might have been one of those. But it really
was Carol Burnett.
It was.
Yes.
There you go.
Wow. Color me amazed.
And I just pulled that name up because I just did a sketch of her yesterday, and I just thought, well, maybe that's what I was thinking of that name for, and I knew it had to be somebody else, but okay.
I saw the sketch. No, I do not remember anybody going after Carol Burnett for anything. I
think she was on Jay Leno or somebody not long afterwards and told the whole story about it. So I bet it's out there on YouTube. But
it's either so long ago that I've forgotten the details, or I never heard about it in the first place.
Well, I think she had a situation with a son or a daughter, and I'm wanting to say daughter, who had drug problems, and that might have been what they were kind of going after her about.
In January 1976, the actress Carol Burnett was dining at the Rive Gauche restaurant in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. She drank 2 or 3 glasses of wine, but was not drunk. She exchanged parts of her dessert, a chocolate souffle, with diners at a couple of neighboring tables after they became curious about it. Later, as she was leaving the restaurant, she was introduced to Henry Kissinger, who was also dining in the restaurant. In March of that year, so 2 months later, the National Enquirer published a short item about the incident, Carol Burnett and Henry K. in row. It read in its entirety. In a Washington restaurant, a boisterous Carol Burnett had a loud argument with another diner, Henry Kissinger. Then she traipsed around the place, offering everyone a bite of her dessert. But Carol really raised eyebrows when she accidentally knocked a glass of wine over one diner and started giggling instead of apologizing. The guy wasn't amused and accidentally spilled a glass of water over Carol's dress.
This Bicentennial Minute was brought to you by Walter Cronkite and Stephanie Osborne. Wasn't the Bicentennial a great year? I mean, just everything happened.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
It's amazing the way that they can blow things out of proportion and make up shit at the same time.
What are the odds of Carol Burnett and Henry Kissinger, though, dining at the same restaurant? That, you know,
Oh,
and of course, he was a close companion with President Nixon just a few years earlier, and of course, about the time then this incident happened would be about the time either when Nixon was writing his memoirs or maybe it was close to being out. I forget. It seemed like there's something significant about him in 1976, but
yeah,
good
but there's
grief.
still 18 minutes of the tape missing.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like I was looking at a picture, which I got a bless you. I got another.
That just reminded me. Arlo Guthrie pointed out that the missing the edited or edited out portion of the Nixon tapes was exactly the same length as one side of the Alice's restaurant element.
Oh my God!
So Tricky Dick decided not to let anybody know he was listening to Arlo Guthrie because
Yeah, irony.
Long-haired hippie type.
Well, I saw a photograph that made me. Well, I didn't use this photograph, but I used some. I did because Carl wants handmade memes and that in his secret humor group, and he kind of got on his soapbox about it a few days ago, but said he wasn't talking about me or Joe Dog because we were putting our own original stuff in. And I put an Archie Bunker one in, a mashup Archie Bunker and Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
And so I seen this photograph, and I'll tell you what it is in a minute, but I did an Edith Bunker mashup with Star Trek that I'll put it on tomorrow. So you have something to talk about tomorrow night. But the actual photograph that I saw was from, I think, 1977 or 79. It's Alice Cooper at maybe Studio 54 or something like that. And here's Edith Bunker dressed up in this black leather, I don't know, looked like dominatrix type of outfit, not looking like Edith Bunker, you know, with her arms around Cooper. And it's absolutely hilarious because, and I'll probably use that at some point or another down the road. I used one that I saw of him standing next to Colonel Sanders, Harlan Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. This was not some Photoshop thing. This was the actual picture of two of them side by side sometime during the 70s, you know, probably mid-late 70s. And I made a funny meme for my artwork page and put it on there. But I mean, you know, you can't make these stories up. That whole period was just magical for matching opposite sides of the coin, so to speak, you know, when you got these characters like that.
I've also discovered that Elizabeth Taylor sued and won, and Shirley Jones of the Partridge Family fame and other stuff also sued and won. And Shirley Jones took it all the way to the Supreme Court to establish that she had a right and could sue the National Enquirer for libel.
Now, did either one of them win their lawsuits?
All three.
Oh, all three. Oh, okay.
All three of them won. And all three of them had been accused by the Enquirer of being drunk
Oh, boy.
when none of them were particularly large drinkers.
Now, typically, you think of Carol Burnett, Shirley Jones, and you said Elizabeth Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are quite well-known celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
I would think they all have good money, or they were married to money. I know Shirley Jones, way before the Partridge Family, starred in so many wonderful movies in the
That's
50s and 60s that I loved.
That's why I added "and other things."
Right. But she was also married to Marty Ingalls after Jack Cassidy passed away. And Marty Ingalls got some money too. And you would think, man, obviously they're suing because it's defamation, but and they're not looking to get money out of it, but I know they're trying to take down people like the National Enquirer and that, much like a lot of people tried to take down Larry Flint of Hustler magazine fame for similar things. And you'd think eventually it would actually kind of sink their ship when enough of these celebrities sue and win over the whole deal.
Well, the problem is the celebrities are doing it individually when the real way to make an impact would be collectively.
Well, yeah. And I know back then,
class action suit between several millionaires in the entertainment industry would have a whole lot more impact than one millionaire.
I know that also too, social media back in the 70s is quite different from social media now, and now everybody sees it almost on the second breath after it happened. Mm-hmm. Case in point, Whoopi Goldberg's anti-Semitic comment on The View that caused her only a 2-week suspension, which anybody else, they would knock them out altogether. But, and it just, and believe me, I don't watch The View, but the very same day I saw her comment on there, and I think she was going, she was a guest, I want to say on Stephen Colbert's show that same night or something. And I don't know, she had tried to apologize for it that night or whatever, but everybody, I guarantee you, everybody seen all that right at the beginning, and so that has an effect, for good or ill, more so than, say, all this stuff that was happening back in the late 70s. You had to go read about it in the newspaper or wait till Walter Cronkite talked about it on the CBS Evening News or Dan Rather or whoever.
I miss the old days when people would just tell the news instead of tell you what to think about the news.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Whoopi Goldberg goes, this is marvelous publicity for her appearing on the next season of the Star Trek Picard show.
Oh, yeah. If they even allow it now.
Why wouldn't they allow it? What makes you think they didn't engineer it?
Well, then that would make them anti-Semitic too, then, I guess.
Not necessarily. Anybody can say anything. And
Well, this is true, but there's consequences for what
claim
a
that that's
person
not what
says.
they meant. Um, I don't know. I'd have to read the exact wordage of the remark. Uh, Believe me, the View is the last thing that I give a damn about. I mean, it's not even on my list of things to give a damn about.
And I think if anybody engineered it, it might have been the people from The View, maybe because viewership is down.
They
You know,
do
they got to get some. They got to get something in there. Have people pay attention. Oh, I better start watching that again. I'll see
they
who else says
they
something.
do have a way of having something really uh, controversial every time that their ratings slump.
And it's always with the people who are the hosts on it, the people that are directly involved that you see on the air. There's so much going on with that, and which is another reason why I don't watch it. And if there's other people that do, then that's more power to you if that's what you like. We all can't like the same thing, but I know her comment. I read it from actually ABC, which I assume they're reputable enough, but they said that when they were talking about the Holocaust, that she said that this wasn't about racism or anything. And everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, talking about what happened to the certain group of people wasn't racist. And of course, we all know it was. And so she'd done a little bit of backtracking, and I've seen something on the news. I think it was last night, talking about, well, maybe this will be a learning experience for her, and that maybe you know, she can find out. And it was like, what are you going to do? Send her to school? I mean, you know.
Mm. Well,
She said what she said, but anyway, but I didn't bring it up to talk about her because she's the last person in the world I want to talk about right now with that statement. But I was just using that as an example, as the most recent thing to come out of the news as of late that I know everybody would have heard about right now, as opposed to back then. We weren't even getting anything what was going on in Vietnam until we did watch it. Walter Cronkite talking about it, and the when Dan Rather was actually over there in Vietnam, and they were doing the little filmed reports and that, and man, that was just amazing, and of course disturbing at the same time. But that was clearly very antiquated by today's standards as far as reporting something a war.
Well, at the time it was cutting edge.
Oh yeah, very much so. Because how else was you going to see it? You know, newspaper or TV or radio. So you had the three on there now. And
Yeah.
what did we just hear about the raid that was held overnight yesterday on Russia, and some people were, I guess, killed from that. They had the commandos go in.
That was Syria.
Syria, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Less than 24 hours later, everybody knows about it.
This is true. And in another era, not our own, you'd be watching it live.
Very well. Look what we're doing with drones. And
well, I mean, it's a very Max Headroom sort of thought, but there's nothing to keep the people actually performing the raid from having television cameras mounted on their helmet. You know, it'd be I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a desirable thing, but it's certainly within the realm of the near possible.
Well, what Stephanie was talking about the telescopes on the asteroids and that, yeah, we can point them up and look at quasars, but we could point them down and look at countries.
That happens every
Potentially
day.
true. Yeah.
Hmm.
That happens every day.
Yep.
We don't get to hear about it much because it's
Yep.
the government
Hush,
that
hush.
ones that look down.
It wouldn't be as effective if everybody knew about it all the time.
Why not put that on CNN every night? Oh, and here's Russia's newest spy satellite launching
Well,
facility or whatever.
you know, that's one of the things. That's one of the biggest arguments in favor of we really went to the moon. Whenever you get one of the moon hoaxers,
Oh yeah, those
because if we didn't, even with that early technology, the Russians had easily the ability to detect the launch, to detect the spacecraft headed out there. I mean, don't you think that it would have been, and we were in the middle of the Cold War, it would have been all over the news.
oh yeah,
Russians declare, moon launch a hoax. That would have been the major headlines.
and didn't they have a robot probe that was
Yeah, they were trying to beat us there.
actually yeah it was trying to land just before us,
Right.
just
and
before
bring back a sample. They were hoping to be the first lunar sample returned. They were hoping to beat us with our manned mission by sending an automated one.
Yeah.
and didn't it crash?
It did.
Mm.
And Chris, I don't want to. Chris has been commenting here, and I didn't want him thinking we were ignoring him.
No, I've been concentrating on the
Okay.
the live
Her-
discussion.
Her stage name is Goldberg.
Yeah. Karen Elaine Johnson is Whoopi Goldberg's real name.
And they did an episode on her, on that, what is that, the ancestry show on PBS.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And there's nobody in her family named Goldberg. There's no evidence of Jewish or German in her ancestry or anything.
Right.
So that is purely a stage name.
Yeah, because Goldberg's is obviously a Jewish name, but it's also a German Jewish
Right.
name as well.
Right.
So
How do you pronounce the? Oh, never mind. It's one of those things. If I say it, it'll be controversial because I'll pronounce it. Anyway, yeah. There.
I don't know how, if that, I just typed what I think is the word you're trying to come up with, and I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Okay.
The European Jews.
Yeah, it starts with an A. Yeah.
Yes. As opposed to the Sephardic Jews who stayed in the Middle East.
mhm.
There would be ways to spin it one way or the other. It really doesn't matter. Yes, that's the word I was trying to claw out of my forebrain.
If Ryan Permison was still here, he would be quoting Bill Murray on Meatballs, the part where they're all losing, and he does the big inspirational speech where he goes, "It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter." And then, of course, that's how he gets everybody all revved up by saying it just doesn't matter.
Okay, according to one of the pronunciation guides on my web browser, it's Ashkenazi. And that's the terminology for European Jews. So I hope nobody. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, just out of curiosity, what the heck is the etymology of the term?
That would be a good. Would
The
be,
Eastern European Yiddish speaking Jews, as opposed to the Sephardi, which are
the Middle Eastern.
the Middle Eastern. Okay. Oh, okay. That is from Ashkenaz, which is the medieval rabbinical name for Germany.
Learn something new every day.
So that's probably some combination of Hebrew and Yiddish.
So I wonder if Oshkosh, Wisconsin, or wherever it's at, is of German descent.
No. That starts with an O. This starts with an A.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nah.
Which I used to own their bib overhauls, by the way. Oshkosh Bagosh.
They make very good ones. They
Mhm.
last quite a long time.
Yep.
This is not a commercial, and we don't need a sponsor. So go away. Don't toodaloo.
Just trying to promote, like Ryan. Ryan and Brian. You know, the two that promote the most, their names sound alike.
Yeah.
God ever help us if they had a show together.
Nobody'd be able to get a word in edgewise.
It'd be like that.
Put those two and Skunk and Nick Tuckert all
Nick
in the,
Dockert.
It'd just be four people trying to talk over each other.
And John Pica.
Yes. Those five trying to talk over each other. Yes. And believe me, I love all five individuals, but you know, you got to pause for breath every once in a while, guys.
Nick Tuckert, when he gets going, God love him, and I do. He's a brother from another mother, but still, I watched him talk for 10, 15 minutes, and I don't think he took a breath. Or if he does, he does it like a ninja, where he's just inhaling through his nose while he's exhaling the words at the same time. And I mean to tell you, if that's how he's doing it, that is one talented individual.
That's the way the Australian dudes play that didgeridoo, you know.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Circular breathing.
It's breathing at the same time they're breathing out. Yes.
didgeridoo.
Yeah, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
Hey,
All right, something else to look up.
I'm well open to being corrected. I mean, I read these words, but I never hear anybody use them in conversation. You know?
I thought it was didgeridoo, but
That's-
I may be wrong.
I actually tried to play one of those one time that a friend of mine had, and I thought I was going to pass out. I kid you not.
Yep,
It is didgeridoo.
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 not
Soft
not
G.
not to be confused with the stuff that you put in your hair in the 60s.
Dippity doo.
Oh, that's tippity doo.
That means we're all of an age, you know. We all got it.
Well, I'll go one further, not to be confused with the stuff that you put in your hair back in the 30s, which that's
Lord.
no, but it has your name in it. Dapper Dan.
Oh, that's a new
Come
one
on.
on me. That's a new
Oh,
one.
you've never seen "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"? That's what George Clooney had to have for his hair. Dapper Dan. It come in a little round tube or container. It looked about big around as a skull container, but it was greasy kid stuff.
That's just a brand of pomade. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I've only ever heard of through that generic term.
And I
Mhm.
remember when all of that changed and it started being fashionable uh to have for men to have what was then known as the dry look.
Oh Lord, that was the '60s.
Yep.
There was a spray called the Dry Look, and I
Yeah,
think it was a hairspray for men
it was. And that
by
was when it
men.
was. Yep. Yep.
I
That's what I'm
I
talking
am
about.
I am just counting my lucky stars that I still have the hair look at my age.
Well, I think when I had my Keith Partridge hairdo in the 70s, I think I used the Dry Look a couple times because
Oh,
you'd spray it in your hair, and then I'd comb my hair again while running the hair dryer on it, and which so it wasn't stiff like a helmet, but it would still hold your hair in place.
and definitely wasn't white rain then.
But you know, Stephanie, I've seen a lot of product that guys are using now. Again, not myself, mind you, but younger guys like Ryan and Skunk's age or younger, and they are getting back to the greasy
Mm.
kid stuff again.
Well, my hairstylist uses it doesn't have the same effect, and she uses it very sparingly. But because I have short hair, she uses
Mhm.
a pomade on my hair to for
Yeah,
some of the final styling.
and I think that's my hairstylist the same way. I'm actually, well, my little sister that I never wanted, Jenny, used to cut my hair for almost 25 years. And recently she just kind of decided that she wasn't going to cut hair anymore. And so I started going to Laura's hairdresser, whose name also happens to be Laura and happened to be our boss during all the eBay auctions the last summer and fall. So I would, to keep from confusing the two, having the two same first names, I would have to either call her Laura and call my Laura Lori Beth. And
Which I bet she liked that.
oh yeah, well, I was going to call her LB
Hmm.
because Richie used to call his girlfriend Lori Beth LB in Happy Days.
Oh yeah.
And then I got this look because apparently somebody who used to work with Laura jokingly called her LB, which stood for something not so
Oh.
complimentary, lazy B.
Hmm. I was thinking
But
little, but the second word was the same.
yeah,
I can see how that would tend to arise someone's ire, but
needless to say, I just call her Lori Beth every once in a while. And not even that very often, but and I then I would call our hairdresser Laura that cuts in colors and all that crap both of our hair. I call her boss lady Laura. So but the last time that I went to her, which was actually back in late November, because she's had carpal tunnel surgery and she's kind of in the healing process right now, so she's not doing anybody's hair. She used some sort of pomade style stuff, but it was like yours, Stephanie. It was very sparing.
Yeah.
And
Just
then
like
she ran
fingertips,
through,
and then yeah.
yeah, she put it in, run the comb and the hair dryer and all that. And that was just to kind of help style it a little bit. And that's fine. I don't care about that because it doesn't come out greasy or anything. But yeah, these people, they put it in their hair, these guys, and got these certain hairstyles, and it's interesting. Nothing that I would do, but it's interesting.
Here's the
I
best.
just realized something, guys, and I want to apologize if I've looked like I'm looking down my nose at everybody or something. But my glasses are graduated bifocals, and to read the screen, I tilt my head back instinctively.
That's
We
why most of the time I don't wear my glasses, or I wear my Phil Silver's glasses.
hmm.
I've got actually got computer glasses over here someplace, but I have mislaid them, and I'm going to have to hunt them down.
Well,
So
I,
I
I
just thought you were doing your impersonation of Alfred Hitchcock for us, but you
no,
didn't have you got to be turned sideways for that. There you
I'm
go.
I'm actually close enough to the computer screen where I can read everything perfectly well without my my prescription glasses. But I call these my Phil Silver's glasses because I saw Phil Silver's on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson one time, and Johnny asked him, "How come there's no glare on your glasses?" And Phil Silvers goes, "I don't know." Uh,
In typical Phil Summers fashion, too,
oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah.
yeah, well, that's the thing. If if I put on my other glasses, they're not only would I have to tilt my head back to see anything in focus, but there'd be this enormous glare off of the entire thing.
Like like I've got right here.
Exactly, only worse, because
But
the angle's a little bit different with the camera I've got set up
Uh,
here. So
okay,
I just
you two, or you're not doing it right though, because see, I think if you have the glare on there, it kind of makes it look like you have sunglasses on or something. You're doing like your Johnny Fever
oh, wait a minute.
impersonation, and which Dan looks close to Johnny Fever already anyway.
These
well,
But
these these actually have lenses and there's no glare, but
oh,
I can't
I didn't
read.
think you had any lenses. Okay.
No, no, they're almost exactly the same frames. It's just um, these with no lenses in them are rather old, and I couldn't see out of them anyway. They were about 10, 15 years old, but they're almost the same frame as the other ones that the new ones that I wear now when I have to drive or not walk into walls or things like that. But uh, just to do shows, and I've been tempted to put my headphones on over my hat so everybody knows what I look like when I'm at a convention.
But see,
That
like looking at Stephanie right now, I see the glare, but I can't tell. It almost looks like she's looking directly into the screen, paying perfect attention to both of us. But with that glare, she could be looking down and typing stuff and chit-chatting online and all this other things, and we don't know it. See, and that's the
well,
reason why I always think that when Skunk would appear on in the show, the non-avatar Skunk, he would always have his sunglasses on that
hmm
make it look like, oh, he's looking at us and paying attention. But yeah, he's actually down here typing this and whatever and looking at something off
or he
screen.
or he's actually pulling a Dan and asleep at the
Yeah,
time.
sleeping or whatever.
well, I mean, sometimes I am hunting stuff up to talk about in the show, but
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. And we don't care either way, but you know.
I mean, right now, I mean, I take my glasses off and I look at myself and I'm like, because my eyes are swollen and I've got dark circles and everything from all the crying and stuff. So this looks a little better to me.
Mm. And I've got long gotten past the age where I give a damn what I look like. So
Well,
Same here.
To be honest, this time of night, I don't have a lick of makeup on, guys. I would look better if I did, but yeah, it's a bunch of friends sitting around talking. So if there's a bunch of friends out there in the audience sitting around watching, okay.
it's Chris and one other person.
Hey, Chris.
I haven't the faintest idea who the other one is because they're not commenting. But
Hmm.
yeah, Chris was our lone watcher for a little while, but we started off with about 7 or 8, and it gradually, as the night went on, people went to bed.
Well, it's 11:30 here. It's probably 12:30 where y'all are. So
Yep, yep. 12.
11:30 here too.
And it is Thursday, and I do have to go to work. The alarm clock does go off at 6 a.m. no matter what time I go to bed. So,
Oh yeah.
well, the thing is, I am of the age where I come home from work at 4:30 in the afternoon. I finally get to sit down in my chair and start checking my email. And the next thing I know, it's about 6 o'clock because I nodded off and took a little nap because the nap ninjas got me. And
have you sent them over here?
no,
Because that's been happening to me lately too.
no, we're sharing them with Pat Elrod, I do believe.
Okay.
So the thing is that I wind up, if I go to bed at a reasonable hour, I lay there staring at the ceiling until 2 a.m. And
Yes.
then the alarm goes off at 6 anyway. So I figure, why not just, if I'm going to get a 2-hour nap in the afternoon, why worry about staying up an extra couple of hours beyond a reasonable bedtime so that I can actually get up out of the chair, go get into bed, and go to sleep within 5 minutes? It's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well, it's whatever's comfortable for you.
It will. I have learned long ago that when I am on vacation for an extended period of time, my normal waking sleeping cycle is stay up till about 2 a.m., wake up about 10 a.m. But if I got to go to work, can't get to sleep any damn earlier. I've just got to drink a lot of coffee once I get to work.
Well, where it gets fun is when you're like me and can't have coffee, can't have caffeine at least.
I would not be able to cope with that because I am absolutely addicted.
Where I don't have a job to go to tomorrow morning like you do, I've been digging people out the last couple days around the apartment complex here, and then tomorrow I got to try to go into Danville to dig out Laura's dad, her 87-year-old dad who has no business shoveling. And so far I've been asking Laura when she calls him at night if he said anything. She goes, no, he just swept off the front porch. I'm like, okay, good. Because he has a very long drive and that. But so where normally I might have your kind of sleeping hours, Dan, or at least as far as getting off of here and still up for another hour or two before I go to bed. Mm-hmm. Because of what I've been doing the last couple of days, I'll probably go to sleep fairly quickly, other than the fact I've been drinking this that has plenty of caffeine in it. And so...
Oh, my God, Bill. No, not caffeine again.
But, and before I forget, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, but we had planned on going to Chicago Sunday to dig out his house up there. I think a lot of that's going to depend on how the roads are going to be by then. So that's a couple of days from now. Yeah, a couple of days from now yet. So we'll see. If that is the case, I will be able to come in for stupid o'clock, or at least most of stupid o'clock Saturday night, but will not be able to catch your show because I'll be up and getting ready and waiting on her to pick me up about 8:30 on Sunday morning. So
I'm just heartbroken. No,
I know.
no, if he's got supplies, and
He does.
he doesn't have a job to go to. If the power's still on, if he still has heat, I mean, he does not need, unless he just wants to go out and sweep the porch for exercise, which I can see is a viable option there.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. But for 87 years old, as active as he is, I just think about overexerting, especially with snow, and we've got quite a lot of it. So I would much rather it be me. Jenny texted Laura the other night saying that she or her husband might have somebody to plow the drive, but so far it has not been done since the last couple of days of the snow that we've had. And the shoveling that I did today was
tomorrow because the snow ain't done yet.
Well, the snow's done here now, but we still have some blowing snow to deal with.
Oh yeah, the drift.
So today I was shoveling knee-deep snow in a lot of areas because of that. So I know over at his place it's going to be much the same.
I haven't seen snow more than ankle deep in decades.
Come on up for a visit, Dan. You and Lindsay come up. I'll gladly put you up, and you can go out and make snow angels in it.
I'll give you the same answer that I gave to Ted Davies when he invited me to come up to Michigan. Not even if you held a gun on me.
The frozen stuff hasn't even gotten here yet.
Well, that's just it. It's frozen underneath. We had the frozen stuff initially on Thursday, or let's see, Tuesday, I think it was, and then it's froze over Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Then that's when it changed over to snow. Stayed snowing consistently, a good heavy snow, until about 10 or 11 o'clock Wednesday evening. We had a brief intermission till Thursday morning, about 6 a.m. And then it snowed from 6 a.m. all the way to about, well, initially they said it was going to end in early afternoon, but it kept snowing until about 4 p.m. or after.
No, about 3 weeks ago, we had probably at the most 3 inches of snow. 2 weeks ago, we had probably at the most a 1/4 inch of snow. And all along the entire time, we've had just a little bit of ice on the roads, and not anything appreciable on the power lines or anything whatsoever. We're set up here. We got oil lamps all through the house. I've got a bottle gas camping stove in case the power goes out. We've got lots of blankets, and I think I've even got a sleeping bag somewhere, just in case we're having to do without electricity for an extended period of time. Can't use the bottle gas stove for heat because carbon monoxide.
Right.
But it'll do for a little while, just long enough to cook something.
Well, the kicker here is we had no snow all winter long. Our average snowfall for one whole season we got just in over 24 hours. And the black ice.
The thing is, we usually don't get any snow for a decade at a time.
Mhm.
And nobody has got any equipment to deal with it
There
whatsoever
you go. Same here.
because it happens so rarely. Um,
It's not cost effective to keep up the equipment to use it once a decade.
mhm. Now,
Right.
my main advantage is I live out in the country, so the local DOT has road graders that they use on the dirt roads so that the school buses can get through. Now, that works just as well in snow as it does for just mud, which is
Mhm.
what they were designed for. So they can come along and scrape the roads if they want to. We actually have a reason to.
I
But
think the maneuverability of a road grader probably isn't quite as good as a regular snowplow. Simply in the fact that snowplow is it's a huge truck as opposed to what the road grader is. But the fact that if you already have that in use for other things
mhm,
and can use it for that, then that's awesome.
you would be surprised at what some of these old men can do with a big freaking machine. They're used to taking a tractor or a combine and making it ballet dance basically
Hmm.
across a field. And you get one of these talented guys that know what they're doing with something that weighs a couple of tons and is basically just a great big old tractor with a scrape blade hung under the middle of it. They can do some delicate work. But
You'd think those tractor tires would have pretty good traction too.
well, they do because they are full of water with I think it's calcium chloride salts in it.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the tires are heavy, and the machinery itself is heavy, and the tread is like inch and a half, 2 inches deep
Hmm.
tread on these things, and some of them are actually four-wheel drive.
But they can get stuck. I had a situation a long time ago where I was driving my friend's car. It was on a rainy night in July, and we
Sounds
were driving. Yeah, we were driving on a 2-lane county road that omitted to having a sign saying that there's a hairpin curve coming up. I missed it,
Mm.
cleaned over the culvert into the cornfield, and sank down to the axles. And uh, he got a John Deere out to try to pull me out, and it was a big monster, and he got it stuck. This was a little Chevy 4-cylinder car that I was driving at the time. And so he had to get out, and then he came back with the old big red Farmall tractor that was even bigger than that, pulled out the John Deere, and then he came back and pulled me out of
Mhm.
there. But these IDOT snowplows that we have up here, they're like big frickin' tanks. Very similar tires, not to say exactly the same, but they are one of our local TV stations out of Champaign, Illinois, posted a photo earlier tonight of one of these big BMF tanks of a snowplow actually got stuck. He went out a little bit too much and went down where the snow was a whole lot deeper than what it looked like. because it just drifted up so much, and he got a little bit too far over to the edge, and pictures are showing these other wreckers and everything else trying to pull them out. So it's even possible for them to get stuck.
I could see that happening down here, but it'd have to be during a blinding snowstorm where they couldn't see the road.
Well, and
Which,
that's what was going on here today, all
yeah,
day long.
they would not be doing that here.
Yeah.
It would be visibility would have to be pretty good, and they just send the things out and they just drop the blade down to within a quarter inch of the pavement, and
Well, they've had segments of Interstate 74 here shut down today, and Oakwood Police was directing all the truckers in because they had to get off the road, and these were the OTR truckers, and unlike Skunk, and they were coming from other places that I'm sure did not realize what kind of weather they were heading into. And when they got here, we have in our little town of Oakwood, 1,600 people. We got 1, 2, 3 truck stops off of our exit 206, right there on 74. They were all full. There was probably 40, 50 truckers had their semis parked and all there. They had the parking lot of the local McDonald's, the Dollar General, everywhere that they could park a semi, they did. And then Oakwood Police was directing them down. It's called Oakwood Street, which is the north-south street going through town, allowing them to park on one side of the street because it's an extra wide street, as long as, of course, they didn't block any driveways. And just to have a place for them to park and sit until they can get these roads opened back up again. And I posted some pictures in a couple Facebook groups that are local here earlier tonight. I just tried to get out today to get more gas. I had half a tank, a little bit over, but I thought, no, I want to fill it the rest of the way up because I don't know what I'm going to be getting into. And at that time, I thought I was still going to go over to Laura's dad's house in Danville, and tried to get to the Pilot truck stop. Could not get that far to get my 3-cent a gallon discount. Ended up going to the Speedway because of all these huge, long, you talk about C.W. McCall songs going left and right in my head. They had a huge convoy of trucks going up, and it's unreal. And this wasn't just happening in Oakwood. It was happening in Tuscola and Champaign and Decatur, Springfield, everywhere along here. And it just, they get pulled over, they can stay in their cab, in their safe or whatever. There's a lot of the truck stops that said, despite the weather, they were going to stay open because so that the truckers can come in and shower and have a hot meal and so on and so forth, because they're feeling for them too. They're bringing us our pomade and Dapper Dan that we'd so desperately need.
Yeah, we got a pretty good truck stop over in Banks Crossing, about 30 miles away, and we're talking about 12 to 15 acres of parking space for big trucks, and a restaurant, and a place with a huge restroom, and the truck stop part of it has showers and their own restrooms and things like that. And yeah, if it got bad enough down here, I could see a lot of them holding up for a week or so. But It's extraordinarily rare that it gets that bad down here. Mostly what we've got down here is just a little bit of ice on the road and a lot of idiots that think that they can still take their little bitty teeny tiny 10-pound car and go driving around on stuff that is a little bit above the pavement, just frozen solid, and,
Well,
and they can't even climb a hill without sliding back down and
the
ramming 15 other cars.
the problem we have over here is that we have so many imports from literally all over the world, and you bring people down from up north where they're used to snow, or from out west where they're used to powder snow, and they don't understand that, okay, yeah, we've got this much snow, but there's this much ice underneath that snow,
Hmm.
you know?
And that's good hard ice. It's not
Yeah.
soft ice.
Nope.
Oh
Nope.
yeah.
There's a
It's not
big
compacted
difference.
snow. It's freezing rain.
Hmm.
Yep.
I was going down Oakwood Street today, and I was going. Well, the speed limit is 30 through town, and then when you get out by the truck stops, it's 40 until you get to the exits for the highway. So I'm going about 30 through town and thinking, oh, I'm doing pretty good in this and that. And then I hit a patch of black ice right in the middle of town. Started to do a Burt Reynolds turnaround, yeah, without really wanting to.
Hmm.
And that it gets your attention pretty easily.
That'll
I,
put a spot on the front seat.
Oh,
I remember when I still had the day job, and the company I worked for, um, they used to have, the president used to be this one guy, and he was pretty reasonable about the weather. He was relative local, and he got it. And then he went moved on, and they brought in somebody else, and he was a, what do you mean a snow day? No way, we're not going to have a snow day. The company is open today. Everybody show up for work. And about 30 minutes later, the call came down. No, everybody's staying home because the president got to finally managed to make it in and busted his ass on the sidewalk. And he decided, no, maybe we should all stay home.
hmm.
I was like, yeah,
Yep.
told
Um,
you.
we were sent an executive from Europe who thought he knew everything there was to know about winter. Got down here and discovered there were a few things that had not been covered in his lesson plan. Uh,
Winter in the South is not like winter anywhere else.
nope. And usually all we get's a little bit of ice, but that a little bit of ice is damn dangerous.
Yes, it is.
And we don't get it often enough for anybody to learn how to deal with it. So the
Well,
best thing to do is just stay home and not risk your life.
those of us with any sense, that's exactly what we do.
Hmm. Now, I don't see any reason that I should risk my life to come to work and push a broom for my entire workday because nobody else showed up and we can't actually run the production line because there ain't enough people.
Well, that's like Laura had to go to work this morning, and then they sent him home an hour later, and they should have just went and messaged everybody that was due to come in on the morning shift and say, look, we're not going to open.
Hmm.
They're a liquor store, and they're, hate to say it, but they're not an essential store to be open that would have everything else. They're a liquor store,
Well,
and
when it happened to us 3 weeks ago, um, I texted my supervisor the night before, and I said, "Look, if it gets icy, I'm not even going to try to come in. I will text you 15 minutes after my alarm clock goes off in the morning. Once I go outside and look and see whether or not the driveway is frozen, the roads are frozen, whether or not I think it's safe to come in." He said, "Okay, just let me know." Got up the next morning, went outside, solid sheet of ice on the driveway. I couldn't even walk the 15 yards to the road to find out whether or not it was frozen over. I just came back in, took my coat off, texted him saying, "Snow day, sorry. Um, let me know what I need to do to make up whatever it was that I missed today." And he said, "No problem." And I texted him back, said, "I hope you're not intending to drive to work because I don't want you risking your life. You got kids. Just, you know, the
Hmm.
company is not going to suffer for us not making anything today."
Right. And something Stephanie said earlier, and I know we're close on time here, so I'll keep it very brief about snow days. When we were kids, this would obviously qualify as snow days up here. Right now, they're going to e-learning and online learning and all that, all because of the COVID for the last couple of years. So uh, the kids now are getting very little snow days. I know Thursday was going to be online learning day, even though they weren't coming into school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of them actually took Friday, or well, today now almost. It's 5 to 12 here, but Friday for an actual snow day. And that was the thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, we get a real bad blizzard, and that's going to keep kids out of school for a few days. You got to give them at least 1 or 2 snow days out of that. Don't make them keep learning nonstop all the way through.
Yeah.
Give them some time off, and
Their safety is worth much more than your paperwork.
right, right. And the problem 2020, they were giving them too much time off, and they wasn't doing anything online yet at the time. And these kids really suffered from it, from being out of school. And I think, not saying it dumbed them all down, but I'm not saying it either. And which I know that was a double negative there, I believe. But anyway,
don't worry about it.
I know it's late.
Yeah. Well, we got like 2 minutes, so to I would sum up, but no. It's been a whole lot of fun, and thank you both very much for being here. Thank you, Chris, for being a loyal viewer, and whoever the other 4 or 5 of you were, thank you very much. Especially the one, the extra one besides Chris that hung on till almost the very end. We will be back Saturday night for Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing, starting at 11 p.m. for Stupid O'Clock and 1 a.m. Sunday morning for Last Man Standing. Anybody that is a member of Uncle Carl's Secret Humor Group, we are going to pretty much have a wake for Meredith tomorrow night.
Yeah, that was sudden, very sudden.
What have I missed?
Nita and Meredith do a show or did a show called Ragin', and Meredith just all of a sudden passed away. No warning, no nothing anybody knows anything about. It's just like
What was
out
the
of the
cause of
blue.
death?
And
What was
I
the
had
cause of
seen
death?
her comment
Don't know.
just a couple days before that. So when I saw Carl saying about doing a toast to Meredith, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Hey,
it hasn't been announced, um, and I refuse to speculate. That it is as far as we know. Um, my suspicion is that it was some hidden health uh, hazard that she did not know about and just reached up and grabbed her.
Yeah,
So
sad.
you know, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no clue. So
And I can tell Nita's taking it very hard because that was
oh
her
yeah,
sister.
yeah. So we're gonna do what Larry Niven would call a memorial drunk. We're we're just gonna those who knew her are gonna tell stories, and those that had only just seen her online are going to well remember her as best we can, and it's just one of those things where um, it's a mystery, but uh, got to be there for Nita, and
Yep.
we're here for you, Stephanie. It's uh,
Life happens.
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, the alternative does too, and
Yeah.
it's never.
And I won't press for answers either, Chris. It doesn't matter at this point, other than the fact that everybody's going to miss her. And
Yeah,
I was just having had a husband that died of heart problems. That's what
mhm.
immediately came to the fore as being something quick. That's the only
Yeah,
reason I
it's just boom happened.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm left with it's none of my business because I'm not family.
If they want to tell us, they'll tell us. If not,
yeah. And
Yep.
it was so quick when I saw Carl's post. He was saying raising the toast to Meredith. I thought, oh, are we to congratulate her on something, something awesome that she did? And then I started reading some of the other posts down the line, and I'm like, what happened? And then so my first thought was, if go to Nita's page, and that's exactly
Mhm.
what I did, and then figured it out from there. But
Yeah. And having been in a position where someone was gone without any warning, it's freaking traumatic, and it's hard to get through, and it hurts a lot, and
mm-hmm.
you come to depend on your friends and your acquaintances for um, not comfort, but a way to cope.
Right.
And you value the people that are uh, in the best position to be able to help you. Um, damn it!
Well,
You
while you're
okay?
thinking about that one,
No. It's just I've had quite enough time to come to grips with what I went through. I'm blathering, and it's not helping anyone
It's okay.
with more recent.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm all right tonight. I promise. Okay.
I think if it helps yourself, then you just
Yeah.
continue to say what you want to say.
Yeah,
And
so-
that's all there is to it. I mean, I
So,
worry about Nita. Because how close they were, which I sent Nita sketch off on Monday, which it's supposed to get to her tomorrow. I put a couple extra things in there for her, so I'm hoping maybe that'll cheer her up. I'm sure it won't, but maybe in time.
thanks, Chris, but I'm not the one I'm worried about.
Yeah.
No, there are times when what I have to say can be of help to someone else undergoing a similar situation. It doesn't matter what that situation is. There are times when I worry that I should just shut the fuck up. And there are those very few times when I understand that no, I shouldn't. It's so very, very difficult to draw those lines. Now, um, Stephanie and I have had some long talks about
Our losses.
experiences in common. Yes, our losses, and I'm hoping that if there's anything that I have in common with that loss that I have had with Nita, then I'll be able to say something that isn't stupid. Uh, and I'm hoping that I have the wisdom to know when to shut the fuck up and when to talk. That's the fine tightrope that I walk a lot of the times. But and this, we were going real good till we got to this point. That's the thing, folks. This is a real show with real people with real lives, and sometimes things happen that are not pleasant or well, there's not another word for it. There's shit happens, and we learn how to deal with it and keep going, and that's life.
Yeah, because what's the alternative?
Giving up, and that's not in my nature, and I don't think that's in Stephanie's nature, and I'm hoping it's not in Anita's nature either. It's shall we just raise a toast to absent friends for the nonce and go ahead and we're already 8 minutes over, so we'll just run the end credits and everybody that's going to be there Friday will be there, and everybody that's going to be here Saturday will be here, and hopefully the world will be a little bit nicer place because we're in it.
Either way, it's going to keep on turning.
To absent friends and loved ones.
To absent friends and loved ones.
I already drank my Coke.
Yeah, you're going to be up for hours.
Yeah.
And in the words of the immortal Joe Dog, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Vaya con Dios, amigos.
And here we go. 1, 2, 3, and